After Juan Soto says no to the Jays, what is next for GM Ross Atkins? Hey everyone, welcome into Long Ball. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Blue Jays writer Rob Longley. And Rob, I think many Jays fans and observers are feeling like the offseason is truly underway for the Blue Jays now, as Juan Soto decided to not sign with Toronto and join the New York Mets on a record-breaking deal. There's been a lot of talk about GM Ross Atkins and how he has left no stone unturned, but what should be the first move for the front office with the winter meetings currently underway in Dallas?
Well, Rob, that's the $1 million question, or the $10 million question, or the $100 million question, whatever you want it to be. But I think critical for the front office this time around is that they pivot quickly. We saw last year that when they lost out on Shohei Ohtani, now the market wasn't nearly as deep as it is this year, last year, but the team didn't pivot quickly enough, and then they ended up getting the dregs of the free agent class. I mean, it's absolutely imperative that right now Ross Atkins and team president Mark Shapiro will get right in there and get in the mix for some of the very clear needs and some of the very clear, solid free agents that are on the market and make it happen, because this team is desperate in its need to improve in a number of areas. We could talk about the bullpen. We can talk about maybe adding another starter, but we most definitely have to talk about adding some power, adding some pop to that lineup. And there's certainly no way that an 88 loss team can run it back into the 2025 season the way it is. So I think that Ross Atkins' future with the ball club relies on what happens over the next week or so, and as soon as this week, because as you mentioned, Rob, now that the Soto business is out of the way, I think things are going to move fairly rapidly in the free agent market.
Now, of course, the focus has also shifted, I think, for a lot of people to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., not just within Toronto baseball circles, but a lot of the national media in the U.S. as well. This Juan Soto deal has clearly raised the level for future contracts for elite offensive players like a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You wrote about it earlier this week, but what do you think this could mean for the Blue Jays slugger?
Yeah, it's interesting, Rob, because it certainly is the hot topic right now. As you mentioned, I've written about it a couple of times this off season. But what I think it really speaks to is the fact that how poorly the Blue Jays have played this, because they let it get to this stage. They let it get to the point where Vlad Guerrero Jr. is going to be a free agent next season, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. is sitting back and watching the absurdity with which players are getting paid right now, last season and on to this season. And why would he even talk to the Blue Jays about an extension right now, unless the money was absurdly high? So yes, it's they lost out on Shohei Ohtani, they lost out on Juan Soto, and now there's a very real chance that they're going to lose out on their lone homegrown superstar, Vlad Guerrero Jr., because they let it get to this point. They should have extended him last year, whether it was this time last year or during the season, because now there's zero incentive for Vlad Guerrero to even talk about an extension with the Jays right now. And there's all the incentive in the world to go out and have a huge season, much like Soto did with the Yankees last year, and have him be the darling of the free agent class next year. Now, is he going to get $700 million like Juan Soto is? Not likely, but as I wrote today, I wouldn't be surprised at all if contract talks with a deal next year for Vlad Guerrero Jr. Reached $500 million, and I don't think the Jays would be willing to pay that right now. So it's time for Vlad Guerrero Jr. to bet on himself, and the Blue Jays enabled that to happen.
Meanwhile, Jordan Romano's time with the Blue Jays has officially come to an end. The Markham native, now a Philly, inking a one-year deal. Rob, how do you think fans should view Romano's time as a Blue Jay?
I think they should view it, overall, they should applaud what Jordan Romano did here with the Blue Jays. Obviously, he had some struggles last year, both physically and performance-wise, and it was a very frustrating end to his tenure here. But here's a homegrown kid who, as you mentioned, Rob, from Markham, grew up watching the Jays, went to the Rogers Center, was drafted was not a low draft pick at all. I mean, and he had to work his way all the way up through the system. He played throughout the minors with guys like Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr., but was nowhere near as heralded. And then he worked his way up to the big leagues. And not only did he work his way up to the big leagues, he was a bona fide top tier MLB closer for a couple of seasons. He's got third most saves in Blue Jays franchise history. Was a huge fan favorite, and he'll be missed. I reached out to him over the last couple of days, and he's thrilled with the way things have turned out for him. He just got back from Philadelphia yesterday, where I presume he was going through some medicals. And he didn't want to say anything about the Blue Jays. He didn't want to come across as bitter, but I'm sure he was disappointed when he was non-tendered last month. But it's good for a guy like that who's a legitimate homegrown hero to land on his feet and have an opportunity to continue his career.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity in Philadelphia, potentially maybe some save opportunities down the line, but not going to be easy when you're facing the likes of Juan Soto
No.
in the NL East. So maybe Jordan Romano thinking, wow, can't escape this guy, going to a different league, but we'll see how it all plays out. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Rob Longley, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.